Okay, now we'll continue with part 2 of the video. Alright, earlier on we talked about 3 stages of video production: pre-production, production, as well as post-production. For the purpose of today's session, we will talk about the pre-production in greater detail. So for today, there will be a few tasks that I will tell you a bit more at the end of the session. So basically at the pre-production stage, we talk about the assignment of roles, the pitch, which has something to do with your storyline, and then also on the storyboarding. And other things that are part of the pre-production stage will be research, arranging interviews if required, scouting for locations, as well as a shortlist. Assignment of roles. As a group, you need to discuss the various tasks involved and delegate the responsibilities to individual members. And I need all of you to agree how these responsibilities will be shared amongst the group. Okay, and you have to present that in your PowerPoint slides. Okay. Assignment of roles. So in your groups of 3 to 4 members, you need to think about the multiple roles you'll be taking up in this assignment. Okay, one role will be the scriptwriter. Another role will be someone who is in charge of storyboard, that includes the sketching and the writing of all the details. Okay, and the third one will be a video woman and the actor or interviewer in the video. And of course, the video editing team. Why I say team here is because if you only rely on one laptop, what if the laptop crash? Right, so you need to have different people helping out in the video editing, and of course the presenter during your final presentation. So within your group of 3 to 4 members, definitely you have to double up your roles. Okay. Point number 2, the pitch, which means the storyline. So you need to think about who is your target audience again, and what are you trying to do here. You're trying to present a conflict, right? So make sure that the message is very clear. What is the main point about this story? So again, highlight the conflict in the case scenario. What other information do you want to include? Where will the story be told? So where is the setting? And what will happen at the start, the middle, and the end of the storyline? So you need to plan for that. Okay, before even you talk about sketching your storyboard. So you need to have the storyline. What you have in the case scenario, it is actually very brief. Alright, so you need to plan to give it a bit more meat. Alright. So where to get ideas? For your case, it has already been determined. It will come from the Code of Ethics by ACES. If not, the case scenarios provided by ACTA. Alright, so you are actually adapting your ideas from other works. Okay, the third thing, making the storyboard. So basically, a storyboard is to map out the flow of the story using drawings and text. In this case, why I say drawing, because when we talk about angles, okay, when you draw it, it is easier for the video person to visualize. Alright, and also on your storyboard, you need to brainstorm what ideas will be conveyed in the timeline. Okay, you plan for each frame to take place, to be featured for how long. Alright, maybe 3 seconds or 5 seconds, you need to actually write that down. And identify the major ideas or images you want to convey. Alright, so if let's say you are featuring a scene whereby the video man will have to pan the camera from left to right, then that piece of information has to be written on the storyboard so that the video person will be able to capture that when they are doing the actual shooting. Alright, so about storyboard. So basically, the kind of information that will be on the storyboard will be your images, things like people, places, the things, and the text you want to appear in the frame, your scene, the kind of action, the events, the location that it will take place, The sound, do you have a narration in this particular frame? For how long? The voices, whose voice? Do you feature music? For how long? Sound effect, the kind of sound effect you want, like the typewriter kind of sound. And of course, the background sound. What kind of background sound do you want? Okay, for example, if it's a classroom setting, maybe you want to have children bustling in the background. Okay, then for effects, you also need to write it down. What kind of sound effects or the image effects do you want to feature in this particular frame, and for how long, and stuff like that. Okay, so all this should appear in your storyboard. Alright, so storyboard are actually planning tools to help you outline and organize your video. Okay, it contains a rough sketch or outline of the project. So every frame is just a rough sketch. Alright, but it has to be clear. It need not be aesthetically pleasing, but it has to be very clear. So it allows whoever is holding the camera or actually doing the final editing to be able to visualize, okay, and refine the ideas. And the storyboard will serve as, you know, the main point of reference that everybody will look at, so that whatever idea when we, is passed down from person to person, the idea doesn't change. Okay, storyboard is an element to capture and refine ideas, not to create them. So basically, you have to capture your planning, alright, and you refine your ideas, and based on that, you do your shooting and then your post-production, which is editing. It is not something you use to reverse engineer, ideally, because for example, if it's something that is not planned, then you actually capture it. Okay, what happened is the person who is actually editing may not know what do you want to do with this particular scene, because it was not on the storyboard. Okay, so it might be treated as something redundant, right? Then you have to reverse engineer if that is a scene that you want, but it was not on the original storyboard. Then you have to add the scene in, so that the person who is editing will know what you want. Okay, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense, because it's a waste of resource and time. So it is best to do your storyboard well right from the start. Okay, and the storyboard will actually help you to pace the video. Okay, because it happens in frame, okay, from a stage to another stage, right? So it helps you to pace the video. Alright, and basically, like what I've mentioned, it keeps the whole team on track, because everybody will have a set of reference, and they will know what is supposed to happen at each stage. Okay, so it is like a picture script about how the video will be made. This is an example of a storyboard, but in here, in this frame, you see that not much written information has been provided. Okay, but basically, I would like you to look at the different frame that they are drawing here. Okay, so if you look at the frame, for example, featuring the middle frames, okay, with the boy and then the driver, then you can see if you write it down, okay, where you want the person to look at. So for example, you want the boy, you want on the left side, it features a frame, a shot whereby it was outside the car looking at the boy, right? Then you zoom in on the boy with the boy turning his head. Okay, and then the next frame will be the driver, and you're shooting it right in front of the driver, and the driver looks out. Okay, so it actually tells quite nicely how this video will be supposed to be shot. Okay, so this is how you should actually plan your different frame. This is another example, but it's a really poor one. Okay, why? If you compare it to the previous one, you realize even with the drawing, it is a rough sketch, but it didn't kind of help you understand how the video is going to take place, right? So if I take a look at the start, you see a sofa, and yeah, it didn't really quite tell you anything. So actually, if you draw like that, I can tell you that you will not pass the storyboard. Okay, you need to provide a bit more detail, okay, to what is happening in each frame. Maybe which angle, is there any dialogue and stuff like that. You need to provide more information. This is an example, a simple one, on how each frame can look like on the storyboard. Okay, so if you look at the frame on the left side, it has a title page. Okay, it's going to be in red. Here they provide details on the font, what is written in the frame, and at the background they are using music, and the effect is a fade in, fade out. Okay, but it will be good if they can write down it is for how long and stuff like that. Okay, the last frame, which is on the extreme right, it features here a dialogue between two persons. Okay, and then the effect, or how the the scene is going to look like. You're going to zoom from the boy to the lady and fix the camera on the girl. Okay, so this is something that provides a bit more information. It will come in handy for the video man and also the editing, right? Okay, so is using a storyboard just a lot of extra trouble? Okay, some of you feel that why don't you just take the video and edit along the way. Okay, if you do that, it is actually more, you will waste a lot of effort and resources and also timing, because you have to change every time you start to film again. And sometimes you may not, you are having your holidays and all that, not everybody is available. And sometimes when you need your actors, or even do your setup or different the shooting scene at a particular area, you need some permission, right? So, and it's not always readily available. So if you plan ahead, you can actually do more things. For example, if you plan for a certain effect to take place, then you know that at the end it will happen. Okay, if you just take a video, then you need to spend time at each stage. For example, the video person, okay, what am I supposed to shoot here? What is going to happen here, right? And you may not plan for the different angles. Is it going to be a bird's eye view, or is it going to be from the bottom up? Okay, from the bottom up and things like that. So you need to plan for all this. So what do you want to include in the storyboard? Basically each excuse me. Okay, basically each frame depicts a scene. Okay, some character and stuff like that. You also need to include things like the movement of the cameras, the lighting if required, any dialogue, background music and sound. And you need to all include that and do that while you plan. Okay, this is an excellent example on how a storyboard should look like. Okay, if you look at the top left hand corner, it features a title, the location, the music and voiceover, and includes a timing. Alright, okay, and here they also include things like the shot. Is it going to be a close-up shot, or a wide angle and things like that? So you need to provide all this kind of information if you want the storyboard to do to have substance.